Hi everyone, I'm Panera, and I'm here with Potato Lisk.
Potato Cruiser Operational.
And Brutaxelos.
Hey.
As well as our special guest, Novawar from Lag TV.
Hey guys, that was about 80% less enthusiastic as the first time around before we had to dick around with this microphone.
It's okay, man.
That was amazing.
I'll bring the enthusiasm here. So the topic is the Nydus worm. Yeah. So Potato Lisk.
Adam, could you please hit us up with the noise of a Nydus worm?
I have absolutely no clue how you're supposed to vocalize the sound of a Nydus worm. And I imagine if I did do one, it would just sound like me sucking a dude, so I'm going to avoid that altogether. That sounds like a bad time.
Okay, well, there's actually a perfect transition into our first picture here that I'm going to send you guys.
Am I going to open this and see a penis? Is that what's happening?
No. I swear this is a legitimate amphibian that lives in the Amazon.
All right, so that is a penis.
Oh yeah, I've seen this before. Oh god.
Yeah. So the whole point of this is showing what happens when an animal lives in an environment where it's digging around a lot, right? They can go kind of two ways. They can either sort of take this penis shape like a snake. This one was kind of an extreme example, albeit a hilarious one.
Is that why my penis looks like this? Because it's constantly in my pants?
Yes, I would imagine so, unless it's burrowing elsewhere.
Not since last time I checked, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know, man. So you can either do that with like the limbless sort of streamlined thing, or you can go the other way. And this is a sandfish skink, and they've got really big limbs, and they actually swim through sand. So you can kind of do it two ways. And it looks to me as if the Nydus worm is sort of choosing the legless way, which makes sense because they call it a worm.
I would agree. Does this thing have eyes? It's not looking. Is this thing all sensory?
The one that says penis snake 2.jpg.
The giant penis snake. Does this thing just go on pure sensory? Like, is that it? Like, I'm not seeing a whole lot of eyes happening anywhere.
No,
I'm not seeing
there's no eyes. These things called caecilians are actually they oftentimes don't have any eyes. I've encountered one before, and it was a mean bastard that bit everybody around it. They are total pricks. No pun intended, actually.
Perfect.
So they are really, blind, and this one actually apparently has no lungs, and is thought to live in the water.
Caecilians are basically like amphibian snakes.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So, no lungs, no eyes, so this thing just absorbs oxygen through the skin, and that's it.
Yes, it's pretty remarkably...
So
I don't know how...
Am I safe to say that this penis has a penis?
Yes, it does.
Great.
It does. It probably has a paired penis.
Penisception. We must go deeper.
Penisception. That is very well done. Right. Okay. So on the topic of the Nydus worm itself, let's take a look at the opening. So where all like when you build the Nydus network itself, I just sent a picture there of the Nydus network.
I see an apple.
There's a running joke in Anatomy of Starcraft that the Zerg tend to repurpose their anuses in a very celebrated way. And in this case, I think, because when you have a Nydus worm pop out, it's the head, I think this is the ass end of the creature, coiling around its own colon with all those spikes.
That's lovely.
I have an interesting observation on the Nydus network. So if you look at the animation, there's actually the loops around the anus are actually constantly rotating. And this is not really seen in the animal kingdom because wheels don't exist in animals.
I think it's just coiling. It's the animal itself coiling around, maybe.
It could also be the Nydus network is constantly producing new new lengths, right? So it's just constantly growing, and that's the part that eventually comes out as a Nydus head.
Well, if you look at the animation of when something enters or exits this area, it actually has a sphincter.
Yeah, no, and it looks like it's well prepared for surprise butt sex, in that you lose.
Yeah, you really do. I mean, it's got spikes for days. And
Yeah.
There's actually 2 side anuses too, right on the side there. I'm seeing that are.
See, no, that's what happened before it armed itself with teeth. See, it was torn 2 new assholes, and then it decided to arm up for the third.
The 2 side assholes have teeth too.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, this thing is well armed. And so, like, looking at the head end, which is, I mean, you can't really see much of the body, and what you do see is, like, when it pops out, the head, it's kind of just like a spiky worm dude. Here, just so that everyone can see. There is a picture of the head, and I have no idea what these side arms are that are sticking out on the back, and the little spiky arms in the front.
Is
no
it
idea
just me or is it not symmetrical on the sides? It looks
it's
like,
not.
it
No,
looks
it's
like
absolutely
the
not.
2 side, one of them has different spikes than the other side. I just noticed that.
And it's got 2 eyes, too, like, on either side.
Yeah,
Oh.
on either side of the mouth. It's
Oh, I never
like
saw it like
they
that.
combined 2 totally different heads into one there.
Wow.
Yeah,
It
got these
looks
weird
like it
spikes.
just has a vertical mouth, like something like the Leviathan in the campaign.
Yeah, and the drone has one as well.
Has anyone else considered that it could just be the camera angle that is making it look
No.
asymmetrical?
It's not the same. There's spikes on the top of the derp jaw thing, and on the bottom there's no spikes.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, we're looking at horizontal symmetry, okay.
Yeah.
And like and asymmetry is common in nature. Like look at the flounder. They start off being symmetrical, and then one of the eyes actually shifts over onto the other side of the skull. That's just one
It
example.
is
Sounds
symmetrical.
painful.
It's just not the way I thought it was. It's vertically symmetrical, but not horizontally. I always thought it was horizontally.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean that's fine. Yeah, there is some symmetry to it as well, and it actually has like the. It looks like the esophagus there also has a sphincter.
Yes.
That's I believe it's to control what units can and cannot go through. So if you load up like lings and hydras, and I don't know if someone commands them to go through, but only the hydras, it'll keep the lings in to let the hydras out.
Yeah. So it, I think that's a good call, especially if you're burrowing through bedrock and stuff. Which don't ask me how it accomplishes that, especially in such a hurry. That is a little bit of a issue.
Where does it
yeah, like how does it move through solid rock or metal on a space platform or
how does it when suddenly Nydus worm? That's generally what I think, because how does it how exactly does it go from the Zerg's base to on a space platform to another part of the base and nothing below the space platform? Just don't see a dangling body of a worm.
Yeah, it's quite, I don't know. But anyway, the sphincter is a good call because it obviously can't close its mouth, so that way you don't get dirt and crap going in there. And I believe in the lore it actually says that they use peristalsis, so like those sort of passive stomach movements we use to digest food. It uses those to rapidly move guys to and fro. Is that right?
Yes, but I don't really see how it could rapidly move in Ultralisk.
I don't see how it can stretch itself across the entire bloody map.
Yeah, well, that's exactly
so,
right.
like, if the thing's made, it seems like there's a definitive size to it. You don't just one does not simply multiply in length simultaneously
No, I agree. I think, though, it's kind of got an accordion-like body where it can stretch down its body axis. Like, if you look at when it pops out, there's actually almost segments, and I think that those provide some flexibility, but you're right. Like, there is a certain size that I don't think it can cover, yeah. So, there's that issue as well, but I think a StarCraft map is only so big. So, maybe
Tal'Darim Ultras.
Yeah, Tal'Darim Ultras was pretty big, but to be fair, I mean, Metalopolis was a map in which you fought on top of frickin' skyscrapers, so we have to be consciously aware of the fact that we're playing a video game. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's always those issues that we try to grapple with here.
And or ignore.
Hey guys, I got another observation of the head. It's from a concept art. Here, let me make it for you. The current Nydus does not look like this completely, but it has some of the traits. So you look at the backwards facing spikes on the head. Yeah. If you can look in the concept art, it actually when it's moving through the ground, it retracts. I mean, it folds back, right, so as to not restrict movement. But when it comes out, they actually serve as an anchor for the head.
Yeah, so you can't get a Thor coming along and trying to stomp it back down.
Yep.
Just picture that.
Am I crazy in saying that the spikes, the small spikes along the body, make no sense at all in the conceptualization of this whole thing? Would that not just absolutely drag the shit out of you as you're trying to move through freaking rock?
So with the derp arms that are on the head of the actual model itself.
Yeah.
See, the problem with that they have with the Zerg in general is Blizzard seems to have this habit of, okay, well, we have this concept animal. How can we make it look tougher? I know, add spikes all over the place.
Hydra seems intimidating.
Yeah, I mean, for the intimidation factor, I guess. But, yeah, you're right. Like, when you're moving through the soil, and I actually was fortunate enough to do quite a bit of research on this in university as one of my projects. When you're moving through the soil and you choose that sort of snake or penis-like body form, you really don't want to have anything that is going to drag at all. That's why you get, like, really smooth scales on snakes and other burrowing things. If they're choosing that way of burrowing. So yeah, it's one of those disconnects between reality and design, which is why I'm always so pissed off when graphics designers don't know what they're doing and they make derpy things.
From what I'm
cool.
looking at from the spikes, if the spikes were not facing forward on the head where like it's coming out, right? I think the spikes can actually kind of serve as something to propel it forward. But the existence of those spikes that are like facing forward, I just kind of ruins it.
Yeah, it could be.
Are we to assume that this thing acts like an actual worm in terms of burrowing, where it eats the dirt in front of itself and ejects it out the back, even though we never see that actually happen?
Well,
in the game?
No, I would imagine it would actually be more similar to like a snake that would be burrowing. So they just kind of ram their heads going forward, which is a disconnect when they're kind of like on a space platform made of metal.
Yeah, that would be a problem.
That could make sense with the forward-facing giant teeth thing in the front too. That can help as like a.
Wouldn't it also just spin and create like a drill to drill?
No.
Okay.
Wouldn't that when you're not removing or displacing, well, you're displacing if you're not moving. So wouldn't that put a limitation on how deep this thing could go?
Yeah. Well, presumably it's pretty shallow. It's because, I mean, if it's going down, say, 100 feet, what's the point in that? When it could probably just get away with, as little as, like, 2 meters, I'm switching between imperial and metric.
For the Americans out there who are going to watch this, that's about 6 feet 2 inches.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually,
so
6 feet
there you
6.
go.
My bad.
It's actually pretty neat when you do the all-in method of losing your limbs entirely. There's only 2 groups that have done it: snakes, and this is advanced snakes we're talking about. Yep. Pythons still have a femur and a pelvis. And a little known group of skinks called the Larista, and there's actually about 110 of them, but they're all in Australia. But anyway, when you
bad things are.
Yeah, everything that can kill you, even the little lizards. So when you start losing your limbs like that, you have to be able to rip off chunks of flesh or swallow things whole, and I sent a link there. Is that right? Is that the right one? I think it is, yeah.
Yes.
Should be a snake head.
Yeah. The bird python?
Yeah. So even in primitive snakes, you see this. They can actually spread their lower jaw apart and open. Basically, their whole head is what's called kinetic. So all the bones can shift and move to accommodate things, and that sort of is a good thing that I would imagine that the Nydus worm would have, because there's a slight difference between spitting out a Zergling and spitting out an Ultralisk.
I would think so, yeah.
A little bit.
Just a small difference, though.
So I think, when this creature was sort of hijacked by the swarm, perhaps it was kind of like one of those, I guess, burrowing snake maybe that, pops up, grabs something, swallows it whole, and then kind of recedes back, having, various spikes and additions to make it Zergy along the way, I guess.
I feel like they kind of ripped off the Star Wars freaking monster on, what planet were they on?
Tatooine.
Yes, thank you.
The Sarlacc, it's called.
Yes, I feel like they kind of jacked that up a bit on this design.
They did a little bit, and you could also imagine that. I kind of picture the worms from Dune as well.
Hey, just saying, in Brood War on the desert map, there actually was a Sarlacc thing as a doodad.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That
that's
is
awesome.
True, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
They need to port that over to SC2 pronto.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's pretty sweet. So yeah, it's basically just, I guess, it's rather modest in biology, and we can only see about 50% of it. So that's sort of where the imagination comes in, I guess. But here's the question: if you've got one sort of base anus in your base, the Nydus worm, the Nydus colony or whatever, is it producing multiple, or capable of producing like multiple heads? And it's just like a shared anus, like a communal anus?
I'm glad humans don't have that issue.
You obviously haven't seen the human centipede, my friend.
No, I have not.
Yeah, don't.
Good answer.
Ever.
Yes. Yeah, never see it ever. It is wrong.
Life-changing in the worst ways.
Yeah, I think the person who made that kind of thought about, how can I be the worst human possible? And then triple it.
I'm not even sure with a heavy amount of acid I could actually come up with a concept like that for torture. That's messed up.
Yeah, it's
That's absolutely messed up. Oh yeah, and there it is. There is the totally have one. Great.
Yeah, and then there was the if you watch the Futurama movies, Beast with a Billion Backs, they had a single family take care of all the fecal matter for the entire planet. And it would just travel right to them. Yeah, this is going something.
Well,
Right,
great tangent.
I got a quick question about Nydus.
Yep. Yep.
Can we assume that there's some kind of like giant chamber with the Nydus network and the worms, where all the standby units are waiting, so that when one of the heads or the Nydus network dies, the units are still alive in this chamber?
Like a community stomach?
Yeah,
it could be like a node, if you will. Like,
stomach.
say it goes, the anus goes down underground into what you were just describing, and then you've got multiple esophagi and heads flailing out in different directions.
I feel like the units are not all waiting in one single esophagus. They're probably waiting in some chamber with multiple ports, and whichever head they want to come out from, they can choose which one it is.
Well, if they're calling it a network, then that would be a safe assumption.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I agree. That's actually a really astute suggestion. And it's sort of akin to, what is that mythical creature, the Hydra?
Yep.
I was going to say that's kind of what it sounds like, yeah.
Yeah, huh.
Chop off one head, two more come back.
Well, and there is precedent for that in the natural world as well. I mean, with two-headed snakes that can live perfectly fine. One head is usually dominant and eats all the food, and then the other head gets all sad, but magically is well-fed.
There's two-headed snakes.
I myself have had a lizard give birth to a two-headed baby.
So, no, it's not just limited to Australia. Wonderful.
Yeah, exactly.
There's also an issue with building new Nydus networks and how it can connect into the giant whole stomach part.
Well,
cavity.
Yeah.
Before we kind of got sidetracked with the whole human centipede thing, I think I have a idea of how the worm can have multiple worms all connecting to the same asshole.
Okay.
Or multiple assholes.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll go to that after I spew out my.
And you have to remember,
thing.
one worm can only construct one asshole can only construct one head at a time.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think like the worm, like a worm is made and then it can split up into different worms, like asexually. If that makes sense.
That's possible. Again, if we're assuming that all Zerg units are inherently female, with the exception of whatever lucky Zerg male there might be that we might not know about. I don't
Hydra.
know. Yeah, the Hydra. Maybe he's the male. I don't know, but anyway, yeah, it's entirely possible. Or they could store sperm. I know pythons can actually have sex once, and for 60 years be given birth to babies.
That's impressive.
Kind of a raw deal. Yeah, ants are the same way. And I promised myself I wouldn't bring up ants, but they do it too. Just going to point out that. Just because I know I harp on ants a lot, and River gave me shit for it the other day.
Well, so are we not to be able to assume that it is total? It wouldn't be like, or that would be possible for the Nydus worm to act like a worm, and that aren't they asexual?
Yeah, many of them are, yeah, but some of them also like. Say the earthworm, which everyone's probably thinking of, they have male and female parts, so that when you look at an earthworm, that sort of flat rectangular part that doesn't have the ribbing on it, that's the clitellum. Not even joking. It's a fantastic name for the female part of the worm, and so they can self-impregnate and they can sort of double impregnate. They do a lot of
group
interesting
impregnate.
stuff. Yeah, they can like do like mutual at the same time, and yeah, worms are a topic that I try to avoid because there's so bloody many of them.
Oh, that's true.
So. And worms are generally not like with the same diversity. Like they come from all different places, and they're not all related.
Yeah.
On a completely side note, is anyone's phone going insane right now? And is anyone else hearing like a radio?
Oh, I'm hearing somebody's phone is trying to grasp signal. I threw my phone way far away from my mic.
Yeah,
I just tossed mine behind me in case it's me, and sorry if it is.
That's right. So yeah, well, basically, I mean, does anyone else have any other last-minute observations? Because we're kind of hitting time here.
Yes. Would the worm coming out of the ground actually be necessary for it to scream, or is that just for balance purposes of multiplayer?
That's primarily for balance, though it could be sort of a vestigial trait, so something that the worm did before it was included into the swarm, and for whatever reason they haven't been able to or haven't bothered to remove that screaming. Or maybe it's like a big relief for the worm. The worm's like, yeah!
Finally, not cramped underground.
Yeah, exactly.
Now
maybe
I get to spew out 45 lings.
Yeah, and then the creep as well that explodes out of it. So I imagine maybe it uses creep as like a lubricant to move through the ground even.
So here's my one last thing that I would ask: if this thing is a living being that's acting as a porthole for all intents and purposes, and it's not ingesting Earth to move from one place to another, where the shit is it getting all of its nutrients to actually survive?
They kind of tackle that with their loose, shitty Blizzard lore. They say that the creep somehow sustains the Zerg.
That is an absolute cop-out.
Oh, they had a recent lore sort of thing that I'm going to harp on, where they talk about how Zergs all have sentience, but not necessarily sapience and all that. So I'm going to probably send them a nice email or make a nice video.
That is brutal.
Because they creep multiple things too.
Because it would make sense. All they had to do was say that it acts like an earthworm and digests the earth that it's moving from one side to another, and be done with it. Yep. But instead, nope.
Yeah, that's one of the issues that we have with several units, is that the lore simply isn't there. So we're kind of almost trying to impose uniformitarianism and whatever lore we can scrape together with how the bloody thing looks. So it's awkward situations. So yeah, I guess Brutaxilus, do you have anything more to say?
Not really. Not much to say about the Nydus network, honestly.
Yeah, it's kind of, I think we tackled the majority of the celebrated anus and everything else that's important about being a Zerg. So anyway, this has been the Nydus Worm episode.
Wait. I just realized something. For the campaign, there was one mission when you're inside a Nydus network, apparently.
Yeah, that one was kind of... There was like lava, and there was...
Really?
Makes no sense.
Well, it was on Char, so presumably like...
It could be a special one, but it's kind of like, you can tell us what it looks like to be inside a Nydus.
It basically looks like a map in a cave on Char.
Yeah.
Is what it looks like. Played it several times.
Nydus, the very jolly soul.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's not really... I mean, you'd expect it to be like dripping with like
gunk
fluid, look more organic, but no, they really pooped the bed on that one.
We're not allowed to say shit the bed?
Well, yeah, we're allowed to say shit the bed. Okay. We can say whatever we want.
It just sounds better to say shit the bed.
I just found this this link, and I just realized that they had something like this. So I guess that can kind of explain what the whole body plan of the Nydus network kind of looks like. It looks like a crappy map.
Yeah, it looks like a crappy map inside with lava.
What was this?
Like it's.
Am I looking at the same link you guys are looking at? Because I just see a bunch of Zerg units and an Ultralisk in the top left dressed up like a Christmas tree.
I'm not really following what the hell.
It's not related. I found something else with the.
Another question. What is that thing? Is that thing at the bottom like a Baneling? I see the two obvious, easy to pick out ones, but the one between the left corner Banelings and the Brute Lords.
I think we'll find out when Heart of the Swarm comes out.
They're probably just going to be friggin' removed because they'll all find out it's OP as shit, and then Blizzard's going to have to remove it like they did with the friggin' Warhounds. Heart of the Swarm.
And the Warhounds. Although that was actually pretty overpowered.
Heart of the Swarm will be a busy time for us, to say the least, because we'll get a lot of
new stuff. We got the Viper, we got...
even the UI when you're in the campaign as well will provide some interesting stuff.
We've got new campaign units for Zerg.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be really good. I'm really excited for that. Okay, so we're at like half an hour here, so I'm gonna cut this off. Thanks for joining me, guys. Yeah, it went by quick. Thanks for joining me. This was the episode on Nydus worms.
Use the Nydus network. It's underused in multiplayer.
Yes, absolutely. Okay.